do you really know XML? So I think, as I said, I lost some watchers just telling XML because it's really it's not super trendy, but yeah, that's the reason of this second slide. Talk about XML seriously 2021. But it's XML is like Perl. It's old, reliable, ubiquitous, and as I said, not trendy. But it's interesting. And since everybody knows everything about XML, including it was, I thought it was my case, we will start with a little game. Valid or not valid? Can we put a blank after a tag name?
Done.
It's valid. Can we put a blank before a tag name? No, it's not valid. Can we put an attribute in a closing tag? It's not valid. Is this code sample valid XML? No, it's not, because XML needs only one single root. What will be the value of the attribute A at the end? Actually, it's not valid. Can we put a comment in an attribute? No, it's not valid. Can we put a dash in a comment? Yes, it's valid. Can we nest comments? No, it's not valid. Can we put a dash in a comment? So we already said it's valid, but it's not valid. Actually, the trick is this time there is two ifs consecutive. So it's valid and invalid. Can we put a comment at the end of an XML? Yes, it's valid. Can we put a comment at the beginning? No, it's not valid. Okay, so we just had a look at some syntax things. And maybe you realize that XML syntax, it's not that obvious. Okay, what about security now? Injections. Some XXC injections based on entities. This time, so it's using the principle, the concept of entities, which is kind of variables that are replaced by either some text, either it could be some file inclusion or some file includes, and in the following, okay, it's an old not the example. It should be a shadow, but or something more touchy. But we can include a system file using references, entity references. So the typical use is the typical use case is like you send an XML file on the website. It is parsed, modified, and then send it back to you. And if you use something like this, you can try to get files from the web server in the answer, finally. Okay, the injection withXinclude. This time it's based on this feature, the Xinclude feature from XML, which is this thing. Server-side request forgery. via entities or DTD, we can cross request using this kind of declaration and usage of entities. Denial of service via billion lot attack. So the principle is to use one entity which expand to several entities, which expand to several other entities, and consume all the process parser process resources. Quadratic blowup, it's the same principle but similar to billion lot, but this time there is only one entity. This kind of attacks are protected in current major parser, of course. And other threats like XPath injections. So in this case, if on a web server you're using XML to store and to check for security, you can inject in the XPath request something like the usual 1 equal 1 or even some system calls. XSLT injections, this time XSLT by nature is a programming language, so by nature it's a threat. And finally, decompression bombs. It's not something, it's something generic, it's not something only for XML. The principle is to forge a very big file with a very high compression rate and send it to a parser that accepts compressed input. And when it will decompress the thing, it will consume the whole resources. Okay, now let's look at some lesser known XML features like autoclose tags. Okay, this one is not that lesser known, but the idea is to autoclose empty elements, empty tags like this, and it beacons. In the XML spec, it's equivalent. XML space, this one is really exotic. It's about giving a hint to the parser about how ignorable are the blanks. So in this example, I protect everything below the C element, C tag. And when we try to remove blanks via XMLint, it will keep the blanks inside C and children's. Default attribute. So if we put in the DTD, so the description schema from the file, if we put an attribute list for element lm attribute A with value B or C and the default value, when processed, it will be automatically added to the LM. That's a interesting feature. With XML libxml, you have to force the completion to get this feature with complete attribute. And with XMLint, you have to use the DTD attr to have it. A word about some XML parsers. In Perl, XML libxml, based on C library libxml2, XML parser based on XPath, XML simple, which is even discouraged by its author, XML twig, and in Raku, XML pure Raku implementation, libxml, which is based on C libxml2 and XML XPath. My favorite is XML libxml. As I said, it's based on libxml2. And if we dig into libxml2 to see the list of possible parsed node types in the tree header, we have this list plus some others. I save you from internal types. And I have another question. Do you know all these types? Honestly, I doubt. With XML, libxml, you can get these types with node type or with node name, even if the second one is inconsistent. With XMLint, you can get them with debug, which is printing basically the parsing trace, debug trace. In XML, you can print the types easily with for each and node type, like the following. Okay, so about the types, some types are obvious, like document node, which is the document itself, the element node, which is a tag, an element, attribute, which is this thing. With XML, libxml, you can loop on attribute easily with a for each on attribute and print the name and value like this. XML text node that we can reach can have here or here or here. XML comment, easy. XML CData section. So this time CData, if you don't know, it's to put some literal some code into XML, like if you want to put some XML into XML. XML entity ref. So this time it's the entities that we have seen previously for security. And this is something that you may know from HTML. With libxml, you have to force entity expansion. Yes, because of security in XMLint and libxml. XML DTD node, this is the DTD. Element, this is the element node from DTD. Attribute, the same attribute. Entity declaration, it's the counterpart of the entity reference. It's a declaration in the DTD. XML namespace, this kind of things where we reference external resources with names. XML PI node. PI stands for processing instruction, and we can have it for XML style sheet, for instance. And yeah, because you can give a style to an XML easily with a style sheet like this. We just give a style to each tag, and we have this result in Firefox. XML x-include start and x-include end. This is interesting because these nodes are added by the parser. When it sees the x-include, it will retrieve the content of ink from XML and make it part of the current parsed document. And it will add these two nodes around, but it can be disabled, for instance, in XMLint with this argument. With XML, libxml, you have to force x-include processing via this method. Once again, for security. Okay, it was not so hard so far. But what about document type nodes? Document type, document frag, DOCB document, entity node, entity. I remind you that we already have seen entity ref and entity declaration, notation, and HTML document. Okay, HTML, XML document type is deprecated. Just use DTD instead. Okay, first trap dodged. XML document frag. That's not fair because this one can't be reached. It can be only created and used when writing XML by assembling the document frags. DOCB, it means dogbook. It's deprecated and it's even guarded by ifdef in the libxml code. Entity node. Okay, this one, I don't know. The XML spec is not clear about it, and there is absolutely no place where it is set in the libxml code, so total mystery. XML notation node, it's an obscure XML feature for file association. XML HTML document node, okay, this is the document itself, but this time in HTML context. And how do we set the HTML context? Via the argument HTML. Okay, we reached the end of this list. Honestly, it took me some time to understand this. That's why I wanted to share my pain or discovery. Why I looked at the XML spec like this? Because I wrote XML minifier, and the process of minification of XML is not obvious. You would probably agree to minify this XML by removing all indents and get something like this, simply. It seems obvious because humans put data in leaves in XML, but it's totally wrong according to XML spec. And to convince you, I annotated the non-ignorable blanks that we have in this XML. So basically, everything. We can't do much with it for minification if we don't have any information. If you still hesitate, think HTML, where text and tags are completely mixed together. If we want to achieve good minification, we have to have hints on the schema with an external schema or a DTD to explain what blanks are ignorable and what to explain the structure actually of the XML. In this case, we have information on the XML, so we know exactly where we need to keep the blanks and where we can remove blanks. And in this case, PC data tell us that we need to keep the blanks into a name. Or it could be, if we don't have the schema, it could be with XML space attribute to say, okay, it's default, you can remove the blanks, or it's preserved and you have to keep the blanks. The XML space can also be in the DTD via the default attribute list and added while processed to avoid repeating in every tags. But after all, even without these hints, it's still a valuable approach because it's a do what I mean approach for humans, but it's clearly a lossy minification. If we go further in do what I mean, we can protect text siblings. It means that if we have some text here, we will protect these siblings, the text siblings, because we assume it's non-ignorable blanks, and it will be minified as this thing. And we should protect, I would say, at all costs, the leaves, because this is where humans usually put data in the XMLs. Yes, this do what I mean mode is just a part of my module. There is also a lossless minification and an aggressive mode. But the aggressive mode is even removing spaces after text in leaves and so on. As you may conclude with me, it's I was not really interested in talking about my module, but more about the testing tricks and around the XML spec, which there is some unknown features, and that's why I'm concluding with the journey is more interesting than the actual destination, final destination, which is the module. I'm reaching the end of this presentation. I just put some links: XML spec, XML libxml, libxml2, GitHub, the mirror, and my module. And I just wanted to thank you for attending my presentation.